City. Ron Wilson. Ref. Okay. Ron Wilson. Oh, lucky. Come on. Come on, boys, let's get a goal. Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Please, 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 please! You get it! Oh! Right, all over.
And the UEFA Trophy Week on Tuesday. Including the tickets for the Icon team on Tuesday. Webpage on our official website. Thanks as always for your fantastic support. Have a really
Okay? Stan. Can you hear me, Stan? Is it coming through?
Yeah, sorry. Yes, I can.
Yeah, that's good. What's your thoughts on the game then, Stan?
It was a decent enough performance. They looked good in parts. They started off the second half quite well, but we came back into it and they got the goal kind of slightly against the run of play, but good character to get the point back, and we could have won it. So, and yourself?
In the first half, we seemed to struggle a bit getting balls into the box, and balls were getting there, but there was no one there then to finish it. So that were a bit disappointing in the first half. And then the second half, it looked like they got a bit of a rocket up their arse and they did a bit better. Substitution of Wilson, wow. Comes on, scores, and happy days, he's got the equaliser to make it 1-1. We probably could have got some more, but the referee, he were a bit card happy today, giving out all them Christmas presents, all them bookings.
Well, you did mention it, didn't you? Was it yesterday that he's quite a card happy ref? I think you gave his stats on the last however many games, so not surprising, but he kind of set his stall out early with the early yellow cards, and so you got to be consistent. I mean, I know the letter of the law with the Smallwood thing, but you know, you're saying that's an equal kind of, you know, sort of an equal foul to the early foul on Brad. Obviously not, but those are the rules, I guess. So, but I think he didn't have the best game, but again, I'm not surprised at this level. So,
And what did you make of the team selection?
pretty much the same as last week, wasn't it? Was that
same as last week?
Obviously,
but Stubbs was suspended, and then Taylor's gone in.
Yeah, sort of Platt was suspended, wasn't he? Taylor did all right. To be fair, he in the first half, I don't think he won an aerial duel, but he actually wasn't as bad as he was at Crawley, and I would suspect that that's possibly down to the fact that maybe the injury was kind of in the background, as it were. But I thought Stubbs was immense, and yeah, definitely sort of. To be honest, I don't think they offered much going forward themselves, other than just one or two moments, but nothing really. You didn't have your heart in the mouth. It's disappointing for the whoever lost the man for their goal. Can't remember who it was, but other than that, I don't think they offered much. But yeah, it was probably. I think we shaded it, but you know, 1-1 against a the side up there with those resources is not a bad result for me. What about you?
Yeah. Stephen Fletcher, I thought he were absolute manure. Him who used to play for Wolves.
Yeah. He, mind you, he sort of did have that one moment in the first half, didn't he, where he basically turned Ash Taylor and went through. Was it offside though, anyway, or something like that, or had he fouled? But
Yeah,
but-
he went through him.
yeah, I mean, to be honest, when we played them down there, I don't think their forwards offered anything that we couldn't generally sort of cope with on the night.
Yeah.
I think Cook was disappointing. He was one of those games where you could see he was going to get frustrated and not use it, not sort of feed off that frustration. Although he had his moments, and we were almost gifted that own goal at the end, which would have been sweet. But
Oh no, it were. Yeah, I agree with you there. And Andy Cook, I thought it were. I'm gonna say it were crap today. He were like back to how he was. He like seemed to be scared of basically getting in there. And
I don't think he was. I mean, he got nothing off the referee except
yeah,
for the
referee
most
were crap.
obvious foul push on him in the second half late on. But he wasn't on the same wavelength at times with he was kind of putting sideways headers when sort of like I think it was Bobby or whatever were moving sort of forward, but and Jamie Walker as well. So there were one or two. Jamie wasn't at his best today, but sort of he set high standards anyway. So other than that, I think most people played quite well, to be honest.
I thought there were going to be a sending off in game with a few crunching tackles and referee being card happy, pulling out yellow cards out.
Sorry.
I thought the referee, when some slide tackles were going in, I think like Small, I don't know what did Smallwood actually get booked for, because
I think
he
kicking
was
it away.
chatting or something.
I think it was kicking it away. I mean, if you're going to do that, there was a lad who kicked it away in the second half, so you've got to be consistent. The one thing I would say on that well, two things I would say on that. Sometimes getting an early card focuses the mind, and I thought his performance was disciplined in terms of not giving away silly fouls. And you could see that he was aware, obviously, being on the card, that he pulled out of some tackles that he might have got away with, but didn't want to chance it. So, yeah, sometimes that early in the game, it almost does you a favour. But he played quite well today, I thought, Smallwood.
Who would we? Let me see back in. Who was your man of the match for today?
I mean, Bobby's my man of the match every game, whether he plays or not. So, but do you know what? I think Stubbs is up there in terms of dealing with their threat, the aerial threat. I think if they would have maybe had quicker sort of forwards, we might have struggled in the middle of the defence. But yeah, I think Stubbs were up there, Small were up there, Bobby. I mean, he had quiet moments in the first half, but I think that was when Wrexham as a team were slightly on top at those points, but it made things happen. I think I would probably go with Stubbs or Bobby himself. What about yourself? Who would you sort of?
Oh, Bobby Poynton. He were like Tasmanian devil. He were all over the place. It was fantastic. He were. Oh, I don't think the defence could really handle him. He was just passing it about, getting foot in there, showing fight. But when Wrexham scored, and who do you call him? Who scored it? Who scored goal for Wrexham? My mind's gone blank.
Was it Mullin?
Mullin, that's it. Mullin scored. I thought, here we go. He needs to. Because I was sat in stands and I'm thinking, he needs to do a substitute here. And I thought, 70 minutes went by. I thought, come on, you need to do a sub. And 80 minutes thinking, come on, you need to do it. And then the master stroke of bringing Wilson on and then Wilson. Oh, did it come off the bar and go in?
Yeah, sort of. It looked like it was kind of goal bound, but I think it was kind of like underside of the bar, and it wasn't like it was kind of millimeters from just going in, sort of cleanly as it were. But I think, yeah, he did. Do you know who sort of for me kind of made that possible was Tulloch. I thought he could have been brought on earlier, but in terms of just, I can't remember what it was, but the way he kind of got himself out of a little sort of situation and kind of got the ball into the box and into the mix.
Yeah.
And so I would have liked to have seen Paddy come off earlier and Tulloch sort of come on, sort of maybe at the start of the second half. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I think the way that he saw it today was get it out wide.
Yeah. That happened quite a bit, didn't it? Playing down the wings and trying to. It's like when the game kicked off. Obviously, Parky got his standing ovation. Everybody clapping. I thought, oh, here we go. And I think there were like 21,000 in there. So like we discussed yesterday, they didn't bottle it. They didn't. When Mullen scored, I thought, oh, they're gonna like go in on the shells a bit, but they didn't. They come out of the shells and they just did well and then fought for the hard point. And like you're saying, they could have got the winner from that own goal if that own goal went in, or that goal deflection went in.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I would disagree on the bottling thing. I don't think generally that the side, especially not this squad that's been assembled over the last season and a half, is one to sort of bottle it. But I mean, it's not to say we didn't have a few poor games at home last season. But I think overall, I thought we had enough in the tank to get something, and thankfully we did. So the one thing I would say, there was a period when Lad went off. Was it actually Mullin that went off when he kind of at the side?
I think you're on about when we got the corner.
No, it was. Do you know when he gave the free kick when we thought it was like? I thought it was a free kick for us, but he went into the sort of just at the side of the ground. He went into the wall a bit and made a meal of it. And that stopped our momentum for a little bit. We seemed to sort of, and the frustrating thing for me was under Parky, there were so many teams that did that to us, and we let that happen. And then yet it's almost like, we kind of let that happen where there was no reason for the game to stop. He was off the pitch. Could have played on. He could have got treatment, but for some unknown reason, the referee in his capacity thought it was time to stop the game. So that killed the momentum a little bit, because I thought we had a good 10-15 minute spell at that point where we were on top.
With all that, I'm surprised I didn't add more minutes on as well. I know it was just 8 minutes, but I think personally it should have been about 10-11 minutes. All time wasting their keeper were doing. And it just seemed to slow everything down. Then I don't know what happened with all our ball collectors. They just didn't seem to move today. I don't know if there's been under like a word saying don't pass them the ball or something, but slow the game down.
Well, I mean, that's what that multi-ball thing is, isn't it? They've got the multi-ball thing, but for me, that's kind of rendered useless. It should be that you should have actual people passing the ball, and if you do it around all the grounds, it's not like ball boys can't be trained and just literally give the ball instantly to the thrower, as it is in a lot of Premier League grounds, So it's kind of, they were milking it, they were sort of slowing it down. Their keeper was taking an age. I mean, to be fair, they didn't milk it like a lot of other teams do, but they were definitely, especially at times when we were on, slow it down.
So, what were your thoughts on his tactics, Matt McDonald's tactics and substitutes?
Well, the substitutes were worked. I thought he could have maybe brought them on 10 minutes earlier. However, decent result. I think the tactics were pretty much the same. I mean, I think today it seemed that we were definitely more so getting the ball out wide. I don't think we did anything through the middle. Although Gilead and Smallwood had very good games. I think that was the key to kind of getting behind them, and at times it worked. I felt that there were times where we got balls into the box, and especially late on, and there's nobody there. But so I think it was like pretty much as you were as it has been for the last few games. I don't think he's changed it. Obviously, there'll be subtle changes, but nothing kind of majorly. I don't think. What's your thoughts on that?
I think in the first half, the tactics have worked, but not 100%. In the second half, they actually tried to pass the ball to the player in the middle. His substitutes, I think he should have done, like you're saying, sooner. Instead of the 80th minute, I would have done the 65th or 70th minute, just to bring a bit of fresh pace on. And you saw what, like Wilson and Toulouse, what's his name? Toulouse, is it? Toulouse?
Graham Tulloch.
Toulouse, yeah.
Tulloch.
He came on and he had a pace. So we're getting there slowly, but what would you think the club would do now then? Do you reckon they'll give him Tuesday? Or do you reckon they'll keep McDonald's as manager until the Sutton game?
I don't know, to be honest. It depends, doesn't it? Because sort of while he's won the 2 league games and drawn the third one, everything's fine. It depends. I would hope that they kind of take as long as they feel that they need, and I'm hoping that they're being advised, doing their homework on whoever's coming in. If it's not Kevin McDonald, I think what we probably lacked today was Kev on the field, if I'm honest. In terms of, there were times where we had them, but we just lacked that sort of that last pass maybe or whatever. But not if we want to try it, the effort was there and everything like that. But I think we just did lack that little bit of guile, where so I mean it's difficult to say whether Kev is putting his hat in the ring, or whether he's just kind of focusing on it just purely from a utilitarian point of view, in terms of no distractions, just kind of focus on the job in hand, and then get playing if somebody else comes in. Sorry. So what was it? Sorry, I've gone off on a tangent. So yes, you were asking about the next manager, probably, or whether they're going to keep him. I honestly don't know that, and I think what they need to do is just basically do it and announce it, and I think they're doing that. There's nothing coming out of the club other than when they're saying that they're taking their time. So
yeah, because I know there's a few clubs. There's Gillingham. Apparently they've had listening to the Look Sport Media podcast with Mr. Liam Chew. Listen to him. He's on about, I think Gillingham have said like they've got like 20 applicants. Then like Tranmere looking for managers as well, a manager. But they've been had like load of radio silence from it. So I think the club are doing the right thing by doing it like this. They're probably trying to find the best manager they can find for the club.
Yeah, I also think that in the same way that sort of players do and players' agents, I think probably managers are kind of trying to maybe like negotiate and get some sort of leverage or something like that, and they'll have jobs that they would prefer to take. I mean, obviously, Millwall sacked Rowett this week, so if you're a manager with anything about you, you'd want to take the job at a higher level. But I mean, there's been a lot of names bandied about, so I don't know. But in terms of like, the Millwall job, I don't know that there are sort of managers out there. It's only because purely I haven't looked at the list in terms of like who you'd kind of say, well, yeah, person is more of a Championship level manager than a League Two. So I don't know. It'd be interesting because I think it's kind of generally managers get sacked and they're out the job, and then somebody gets sacked and then they get another job. So it's kind of it's a strange one really, and it's not just this league, but in every division, in every league in Europe, in the world, you get the same thing. Because it's this, for whatever reason, seems to be the time of season that people are kind of like pulling the trigger because they don't want to get too far down the line. They want somebody to come in and have a chance with kind of assessing the team before the January window. So does anyone else out there sort of have any ideas of who they'd want or who they think might come in?
If anyone wants to put a request in, and we'll try to multitask and accept it. So are you going to the MK Dons game on Tuesday?
Yes.
So me and you are gonna have a bit of roles reversing on Tuesday. So
Right.
I'll be at home watching it on iFollow because I can't get the time off work. So we'll probably do another possibly space after game if you're interested.
Yeah, I'll have to see in terms of on the way back. But yeah, sort of. How did they get on today? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I've not looked at any other. I've been trying to save my battery to do this.
Yeah.
So I haven't looked at any other games. So for MK Dons, would you have the same team as what played today, or would you jazz it up a little bit?
I would make a couple of changes. I would start with Tulloch over Paddy. I mean, Paddy scored those 2 goals. His comments last week about what the difference was and clarity. And it's like, well, are you really that thick, Paddy, that you can't run? Do you know what I mean? It's like not having kind of like an uptake of like what the manager's requiring. It doesn't stop you from running. And yeah, today was kind of he was sort of, I would say, typical Paddy, kind of inconsistent. Made some decent sort of runs and what have you, but at this level, decision making let him down, and so I think it was right to bring him off. But I'd have brought him off a bit earlier. I would probably have Tulloch in there on Tuesday, and pretty much a similar sort of lineup as today. I'd probably bring Platt back, as well as Ash Taylor did for himself. I would say that, yeah, I would have Platt over Taylor. What about yourself? What would you do?
I would go back to the team who we had against AFC Wimbledon. So Paddy back on the bench, Stubbs to replace Taylor, because that team seems to play better there with like there. And then when Paddy, he could be a super sub like Wilson was.
Yeah. I mean, Wilson was quite ineffective in that game, though, wasn't he? So it's kind of, basically typical wingers of that level. But having said that, I think bring sort of, unless you don't. Well, they haven't really got time sort of like for turnaround. So it's all about, I guess, having a look at MK Dons and seeing how sort of sort of like how to sort of sort your tactics out that way. But I don't know what sort of obviously we haven't heard Kev's post-match interview, so I don't know if it's kind of if he's got anything in mind, or whether he'll be asked about what's next for Tuesday, etc. I would probably say similar sort of Platt for Taylor and Tulloch for Paddy, basically, are my options. Does anyone else have a thought on that? What team we should play for Tuesday night? Any takers?
I'm just gonna share the link out again. I've just pulled up safely, so let's get this link sent out. And if people could, you feel generous, if you could just retweet it, please get people to come and join us. Your thoughts on the game. So that's sent out, right. Back driving now, right. So with the team, I think they played well in the second half, especially. Bobby Poynton, definitely my man in the match for the game. So hopefully, I know we've beat or drawn. So like I explained on the podcast we did yesterday about the pre-match, I think it was like the Apprentice versus the Master today, and the Apprentice did actually all right. So hopefully Tuesday, he'll probably still be in charge Tuesday. Then when we play Sutton on the Saturday, we actually have a proper manager in place. Because I know people have been saying Kevin McDonald wants the job. Personally, I think he's just there to cover, and he's got plenty of time. Because I think he had did his kidneys or something, or kidneys. He had a kidney disease or some kind of disease in his body, and he missed a lot of football. So I think he wants to play football. And like Stan was saying there, if he were playing today, I think he would have made a difference, because he could have come on for either Gilead or Smallwood.